You all right?
I'm okay. I just a little nervous.
It's definitely well, I shouldn't say different. It's definitely iffy subject territory.
Yeah, I'd say so.
A lot of things going around out there.
And everything's coming to light now, so I just want to get on top of it before it all comes. And I've got the green light to go.
Aren't you like a little afraid to put this out here?
Yes and no. Basically, we're calling upon one of the biggest scandals that there is out there, but we got to talk about it. I feel like it's part of my calling. I got to do it. There is definitely not a lot of space on the podcast to just solely dedicate on this subject of the Illuminati. So
yeah, no, I mean, there is, but I don't think we need to do it the whole time, the whole thing.
Exactly. It's just so much. There's so much. We would be doing like Illuminati part 554. It would just be a constant.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Which is a big reason why we're going to be trying to do it over on this side versus the podcast, or even, TikTok definitely does not like any Illuminati talk in any way.
In any capacity. We still have one more Illuminati episode that will be dropping in May of 2024 on the exclusive side of the podcast.
Always the exclusive side.
Definitely. This will be our first,
which is crazy.
Public one.
Yeah, because a lot of people, you're making it public? And
this is going to be public, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, this is going to be on that side, so it's not as crazy as the
scary
podcast.
Stuff will be always exclusive, even on here.
Yeah, definitely has to be, because you're talking about a lot. And as we've seen a lot of people talking about this subject, we see a lot of people on this subject, and some people are getting hurt, some people are disappearing, some people are quote unquote unaliving themselves, and these are people that don't want to die in any way.
No, not at all. And it's crazy, actually. So,
all right. So what part are we exactly going to be covering today?
We're going to be covering The Masked Singer.
Oh, this one. You're killing me here, this one. I love that show. I love that show so much.
I know, and I like it too, but I can't help it.
You don't like it as much as me because you hate that they're masked.
Call me out, why don't you? I do want to clarify a few things before we get started, so no one's freaking out. Not everyone attached to this show is attached to the Illuminati, the Eye. There are a few, though, that I do want to go over, and at least some of what I've already connected to. And some of this is pretty crazy. Yeah. Let's just start off with that.
Let's get to it then. So what was the vibe that you were getting when we were watching the last episode that we were watching of The Masked Singer?
Oh boy. I was basically sitting there thinking about the show and everything in relation to it, and then I started paying attention to the mask that comes on the screen. That mask is very similar to the mask that they would wear at these ceremonies, and
we're talking about the Eye, right? The Illuminati.
Right, the Illuminati. Okay. Yeah, their parties, their ceremonies, everything in relation to this, they have to wear masks, right? Mm-hmm. And that's
because they want to cover their identity.
Right. That was the first thing I picked up on, and I was like, holy hell. Now, everyone coming into the Illuminati has to come in with zero identification, because they're usually very popular in public, and celebrities, and government officials, and whatever else we put out there, so that they're not bombarded, so that the celebrities are not being hounded by people.
Similar to The Masked Singer, they come in a costume, they have a full-on mask, they're full-on, they might even add weight or whatever to their costume in some way, so you don't even know who they are.
Exactly. Which is what I think they got the concept from. They're trying to make it lighthearted, obviously, and trying to help people see that these celebrities are people too, and oh, here, don't worry, this person isn't bad, this person isn't bad, look, they're singing for us, see? All of the crap people are saying about us is incorrect.
On the show, the executive producers are Craig Plestis and Nick Cannon and James Breen. Now, are any of them connected to the Illuminati in any way?
There are a couple of people in the background that aren't being named as well. I don't know about Craig or James at the moment because we don't see them on the forefront of the show, obviously.
Yeah, because they're in the back.
Right. But definitely Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon is a very strange one for me. And this is going to blow your mind as well. Although he has like a lot of riches and was on a few different shows, obviously married to Mariah Carey at some point, actually has no interest in being in the Illuminati for the money gain, as they quote unquote are supposed to be all about, which is weird. Just wants to continue to create life.
I mean, yeah, he's got a lot of babies.
I'm not even talking about like his baby mamas because they also stem from this. It's much more sinister than that. Like, he has a huge ego from what I get, and he can barely fit through the door.
I mean, to be such a big star like Nick Cannon on a lot of the movies that he was on, like, he definitely has a big ass personality. And it definitely shines through on everything he does. Even watching The Masked Singer, now that I think about it, him sitting there and like some days, like the last episode, he seemed pretty sad. So what about his plan? What about the plans that the Illuminati has for Nick? What do you see for that?
There's a lot of people in the world. You do know that there are clones running around in and about, but they're not as like out there as people think they are at the moment.
Well, no, like the clones, what I think is like they're not going out like to certain things, like out to the grocery store. But when they have these big events, I feel like that's where the clones are, because the clones are more modified to follow rules versus us as humans. Like, because with modifications and cloning, you can take out what they have recently showed us, that you could take out eye color. You can put in a new eye color. Like, you could have two parents that have brown eyes, but you could have a blue-eyed baby because they take out those genes.
And so it's not as common as, let's say, where people think Britney Spears and Kate Middleton are clones. I don't feel that way in any capacity. I feel like Nick Cannon has his sperm basically being used in connection to cloning. He wants to be part of the world way past his exploration date.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so he is hoping that
he's going to have a mini clone of himself.
Commit a bunch of mini clones and robots and whatever else the Illuminati plans to do with his DNA, but it's a bit of an obsession for him in his mind to continue to keep on trucking way past his death date.
Some people are like that. Some people, you know, they're different when it comes to their death. Like, I think for Nick Cannon specifically, because he has MS, and that is something that is going to kill him eventually because there is no cure for it. And a lot of people are saying that he's having these babies, and including himself, is so that there's a match in bone marrow so that he can be saved.
Yeah,
and he's hoping one of these children are going to be a match.
I wouldn't put it past him for that either.
But now I'm thinking it's something deeper than just the MS. Like you said, he wants to live beyond there. Like, he wants that bone marrow to match his DNA 100%, to literally make a clone of Nick Cannon that won't have MS.
Exactly. And quite possibly like switching out the brain side of things too,
right? Like, you know, getting his head frozen and his brain frozen so that they could put his brain back in this new version of Nick Cannon.
Right. So like, it makes a lot of sense. It's crazy, honestly. The women that are also connected to him, that were also giving birth to his children, I also feel like they were from the Illuminati, like they were hired. to
for
do this,
sure.
which they're also like, there's a huge gag order on all of these women connected to him as well.
There's definitely, they're not going to let anybody speak about this at all. Does Nick Cannon have any sort of evil connection to the Illuminati? But I feel like that question's kind of answered already up above. In my opinion, I would say he's almost like a mad scientist. Like, that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Like, he's like a mad Frankenstein scientist and with his little Nick army.
Right, his little Nick army. I don't believe he realizes what he signed up for.
Definitely not.
Like I said, he gets his ego in the way, and that's basically like he throws money at shit. And he's like, yeah, let's make this happen. And I feel like a lot of scientists are connected to the Illuminati and showed him all this technical jargon. And he was like, that sounds perfect. He wants to compete with Mariah Carey. There's like this competition with her, like silently in the background for some reason.
What is he exactly in competition with her?
It's like to be the most popular. I don't know.
Mariah Carey's not even that popular anymore.
I mean, yeah, like she's got her Christmas song
Taylor
that
Swift
comes on
popular.
over and over. Right, I get it. But I think he just wants to make an impact.
I mean,
in the world
I get
bigger
it.
Than her.
I get it. Yeah, because Mariah Carey is known worldwide for many decades, for obviously hundreds of
even
songs
for his
and
kids'
stuff.
eyes. Like, I think that it's like,
well, yeah, because
he hears
she has
about
them.
it, right? Yeah,
because he's like, I want to create, but I don't want to actually have them. I want them to stay with their moms, like, so he could still be out there free balling with the scientists.
Free balling with the scientists, pretty much.
Do you know what's gonna happen at all with his DNA? Like, what the real plan behind that is?
There is a lot of plans for the DNA, and it is not just his DNA either, guys. So listen to this. You ready for this?
I mean, as ready as we're ever going to be.
Okay. The biggest part of the Illuminati, this is just like the disciples, the 12 main members of the Illuminati. And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, highly recommend listening to the podcast episode so that you can understand what in the hell I'm talking about. It is an underground club. And although this underground club has been involved for years and years on end, somewhere around the 80s and 90s, they decided to make it a pervert club where they hide the sex trafficking within. Not everyone in the Illuminati knows about this. A lot of kids that are in sex trafficking are connected to the Illuminati. That's exactly what they're looking for. DNA. They want to take these people's DNAs and make duplicates of children. So let's just use Summer Wells. So let's just go back for a moment and talk about Summer Wells. Summer Wells was taken. In this case, they would take Summer Wells and then have a clone replacement for Summer Wells, because the clone is not going to be that human.
Yep.
You know, that human interaction.
So yeah, they're more robotic.
Right.
Like I said, they like can take things out. They're cloning them with no brain.
Right. They want to replace our children and do it. And then that way nobody sees anything different. They're like, wait a minute, that's not my kid. But in reality, there's no proof. They just see that this child is changing. Like, this is what their hopes and goals are. That's where their technology is, that they want to swap out these kids.
So are they going to replace the children with their families with the robotic children, or with the actual human children, and they're going to keep the robots?
They're going to make the clones of the kids, and then they're going to leave the clones in the possession of the parents and take the real children.
Why don't you just take the clones?
Good question. It's because, and I hate to talk about this because it's so disturbing, because they enjoy taking that innocence away from a child. The clone isn't going to have that vessel like an innocent child would.
That's sick.
It is. It's fucked up.
That's super sick. It would make more sense. I mean, obviously you shouldn't do it at all.
Obviously not.
But it makes more sense for you to just have the clone, because you can teach them emotions.
Yes, that's the goal. This is what they want to replace the sex trafficking, like a pawn, if you will. Pawn swapping out kids so that they can have these children. It's less harmful, I guess, in their mind. It's fucked up. It is so crazy. We're making clones of children. We're gonna, like, they're gonna be perfect. They're not gonna have fears. They're not gonna have any of that. They
wants, goals, dreams, ambitions.
Their goal, they might have all the goals and dreams and wants and ambitions and stuff, but it's going to be like a a shell of a person. It's not going to be real. It's going to be unauthentic.
Well, I guess we're going to talk a little bit more about that sex trafficking side there a little later on in another episode. But for 1 minute, I want to go back to the people connected to the Masked Singer.
Oh, yeah. There's quite a bit that I'm unraveling here. There have been so many celebrities that are on there as scapegoats that really haven't done anything per se, but just agreed to be on the show because, they want their fame back. They want to have one last shot at it. They want to go and show people that they have a talent that they didn't necessarily have before. Like, they just want to go on it, right?
Reminding people that they're still there.
Yeah.
They still have talent.
Exactly.
They can still do it.
Right. The one that we had seen was Cisco. I don't believe that Cisco has a bad bone in his body. I feel like he just wanted to go and sing again, which is why he sang Thong Song on the screen,
Because that wasn't even the song that he was supposed to sing.
Right. Obviously, I do feel like there's a bunch of people that are connected. We all know Nick Lachey was on one of the episodes as well. And I think he won his season, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you.
I remember he was the pig.
Right. I'm pretty sure that he's part of the Illuminati. I'm even more convinced that his wife, Vanessa, is in the Illuminati as well.
Would agree to Vanessa. Nick, I don't know. I guess so because you're saying so. But Vanessa, I could see her evilness is part of that.
To be fair, I don't feel like Nick or Vanessa know about the sex trafficking aspect. Again, that's only like the disciples or the higher ups that know that stuff. But she's a gossip that gives that information of what is going on. So she is a mouthpiece. She will take the information and report back to the Illuminati.
Makes sense. Yeah, she's always got something to say all the time.
Like I said, I don't think Nick's heavily involved. In fact, I think he just goes with the motions. Like, honestly, I feel bad for him. I think he's kind of, and I hate to say this, but I feel like she has a bit of a controlling personality, and
1,000%
she just kind of
in that.
Yeah, and he just kind of goes along with the motions. Like, oh honey, I signed us up for swimming lessons. Oh honey, I signed us up with the Illuminati. Don't worry, all you got to do is just come to the parties. That's it, Yeah,
I would agree. I would agree with that. Well, let's talk about the panel here for a minute. So, is there anyone on the panel that is involved with the Illuminati?
I never felt like Jenny McCarthy was involved, but I also feel like she's got a very lovable personality, and her husband's pretty awesome in my opinion. But I'm thinking that maybe Jenny did sign up right before this show aired. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like she signed up as a small contract with them. I don't think she's heavy in it either, but definitely she's connected, and I don't believe that her husband is involved in any capacity. I feel like Jenny is really living her life, trying to stay out of the drama, the danger zones. She does know some things though. I feel like she has seen things with her eyes, and I don't think that she's outed any of that information. I think she keeps quiet. She pretends like basically nothing has happened, I also know that Mark Wahlberg, back in the day when he was Marky Mark, he was somebody who was approached by the Illuminati, him and Donnie. I feel like Mark Wahlberg either had a very small connection and started the process and then backed out, but I think Donnie went heavy in it because Donnie was needing that extra attention. It's almost like a drug, really. I think that Jenny McCarthy's connection to it is more the paid sponsorships and the paychecks, but really it's more so just so she can be a face to be no, everything's fine over here. Don't look to your left.
So what about Robin Thicke?
Whew, this is a tough topic. As we all know, Robin Thicke is Alan Thicke's son, and if you guys don't know who Alan Thicke is, he was actually on the show as the dad for Growing Pains, and he was the family man of 4 kids. I never quite noticed him in the background, really, until I started educating myself within him as a person. He was named in the documentary Quiet on the Set as somebody who wrote a letter for Dan Schneider. And that is when my eyes started to open up to So once I started to sniff out what was going on here, I started to do my own investigation. Yes, Alan Thicke. I truly believe that that man is a predator. He likes dating, touching, being involved with other younger women. He's somebody who does not like taking the answer no. And he sets it up, you know, like for instance, we were watching that episode where Robin was talking about his father.
That was the same episode.
Yeah.
With Cisco on there.
Right.
And he had mentioned on that episode that he mentioned Brooke Shields would stay with Alan when she would need a place to stay. His father.
And all I'm hearing is that basically he would be like, oh, you don't want to stay at a fancy hotel. You don't want to stay at a shit hotel. You don't know it here. Come stay with me. It's comfy in my house. And then he would, because they're staying there, would expect something. And I feel like he sexualized a lot of women. I feel like Brooke Shields is just one of many who he would do this with. I feel like this was his way. He'd invite a woman over coming from out of town, keep them company, you know, that kind of stuff. And he would sexualize them.
But I heard somewhere that she's like 18 years younger.
She's 18 years younger than Alan Thicke. And we got a whole load of information. I know there's been things out there that she was sexualized on a bunch of different shows that she was on and movies. And it kind of just went under the rug again. You know, no one's really talking about it. I believe she's incredibly scared to talk about this, but that's okay. That's why we're talking about it today. Basically, her claims went nowhere. And I don't even think she mentioned Alan because he died.
So did Alan hurt anyone else on that show at all?
I believe that he sexually assaulted a few people, including Leonardo DiCaprio.
What a sick fuck.
And I also believe Ashley Johnson as well. She was actually the one who played Chrissy. I don't feel like it happened much to Leonardo DiCaprio because he wasn't on the role for very long, but Chrissy was a pretty significant piece. I feel like, you know, she was the youngest child, and I do believe that other kids like Kirk Cameron and Candace Cameron on the set, I really believe that they witnessed some shit go down and they just brush it under the rug like she did for Full House stuff, you know, the golden child.
Has Robin fallen into anything connected with the Illuminati at all?
Thank God, no. He is a boy still. Like, I feel like he's still a child within. He does mask his pain through drinking. Like, he is a heavy, heavy drinker. I feel like because Alan Thicke and Dan Schneider were both part of the Illuminati, that I feel like the Illuminati protects Robin in a way without Robin even realizing it. I'm pretty sure that he witnessed a lot of the things his dad did, which is why I think he drinks a lot.
I mean, yeah, of course. He was around the house. He was young. Like, he could hear things like how many kids we know that wake up in the middle of the night, they go creep to their door, they're listening to different stuff, you know, and he could be sneaking around the house. You don't know what he saw when he was a kid.
And he's charming. I feel like
Alan was also charming too.
Yeah, like, Alan, and that's what I'm talking about, is Alan was charming, and so was Robin, but like, you know, that's why it's kind of like shocking to me. Like, even as I say it, it's truly hard to believe.
And those charmers, they'll get you every single time. Ken Jeong. How do we feel about him? Dr. Ken.
I feel like he's there for comedic relief.
Which I feel that way as well. He's always doing something on that show. Comedy-wise.
Exactly. I don't feel like his personality, though, is totally shining through.
No.
I feel like he's honestly being pushed to act a certain way, to say unusual things, to make people laugh.
But that's his character, though, all the time.
Yeah, and I don't believe that his role on The Masked Singer is anything else other than that.
Yeah, he's just there to be a goofball, because that's what he does, even in his own comedy skits. And I think that's why they wanted him on the show, was to kind of make the show more likable.
And then he'll just have the most outlandish guesses. They try to make him look stupid. They make him guess wrong. I know that Nick Cannon knows every single celebrity that comes into the costume.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure he meets them and everything. He knows who they all are. He's obviously not allowed to say anything, because that's what's the purpose of that for the show. But
They
I think
also-
a lot of them know who some of these people are.
Even the judges, like I think that they run into people in the back.
That's what I'm
you
saying.
know?
Like
Yeah.
the judges, the panel, I feel like they even know who some of them are. Like they are all celebrities. They would know these people.
So it's not really a whole bowl full of element of surprise, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Certain things, like I feel like that episode with Jenny's husband, I truly think she was shocked there.
Absolutely.
Did not know.
I would agree.
But that was like a one and done. He came on
Right.
and then he sang
Done.
terrible just because he wanted to see his wife. And he got voted out.
Of course.
Well, let's go to Rita now. So Rita is the new guest celebrity judge on there, replacing Nicole, because Nicole is shooting a movie, I think, something along those lines. Does Rita have any connection?
Yeah. Absolutely not. She's fun and bubbly and really has a genuine heart. Like, I don't feel that way at all. This was like, hey, let's just pluck somebody that's good and wholesome for the crowd, and I think they gave her a nice check, but I don't think that she likes it too much. I don't see her going, this is a career move for me, you know?
Right, like she doesn't want to be on there for the rest of her life. She's a singer, like why would she want to be on there?
Exactly.
It's kind of the same thing with Nicole. Like Nicole kind of stepped back from singing a little bit, and now she's going into acting, and she might not even return.
Who knows?
Speaking of Nicole,
yes.
What about her? Do you think she's connected?
I definitely feel like Nicole is somebody who has witnessed a lot of things. I think she's actually witnessed a lot of P. Diddy related things.
Oh, for sure.
I think he might have sexualized her. He might have done something. There was something bad that happened connected to her and Aubrey at the same time. I don't know. Something just doesn't feel right on that. I don't personally feel like she is part of the Illuminati. We're gonna be covering girl bands from Diddy's era here in one of the episodes very
A lot
soon.
of them have disappeared off the face of the earth.
It's pretty intense. It's pretty intense for sure.
Obviously had many celebrities come in and out over the, past years on on different shows for TV, including even athletes.
Yep. I also feel like the audience, that's voting, I'm pretty convinced that they're not voting. Like, I don't think their votes count anywhere.
No.
I think that this is pre-chosen, pre-done, because there are some really good singers.
Yes, there are some that are like
out.
really good,
Right.
and they're getting voted out of nowhere, and then like the shittier ones they're letting stay. It definitely makes sense to me because I will hear somebody and I'll be like, wow, they should have stayed. Like, for instance, Cisco, the Lizard. I felt like he did a much better job than the Clock and the other ones, and I don't understand why he got voted out. He literally came out, he danced, and he was a lizard. He was a big-ass lizard.
Because he's not part of the Illuminati. Well, there's a lot more about this that we will cover at some point.
We're definitely going to do a part 2 when it comes to some of these celebrity guests. At some point, we want to, hear from you guys. What questions do you guys have when it comes to the Illuminati?
Yeah, because we want to know, because then we can cover it here too, because there's a lot to uncover. Well, guys, we are going to be making another video here soon.
Well, stay freaked out.